Love Under Fire, Chapter 16, God Overruled Events. When God's hand seemed to point them across the sea to a land where they could establish a government for themselves and leave their children the heritage of religious liberty, they went forward in the path where God was leading. Persecution and exile were opening the way to freedom. When they first had to separate from the English Church, the Puritans made a covenant as the Lord's free people to walk together in all His ways, made known or to be made known to them. This was the vital principle of Protestantism. With this intent, the Pilgrims left Holland to find a home in the New World. John Robinson, their pastor, said this in his farewell address to the exiles: I charge you before God and His blessed angels to follow me no farther than I have followed Christ. If God should reveal anything to you by any other instrument of His, be as ready to receive it as you ever were to receive any truth from my ministry, for I am very confident the Lord has more truth and light yet to break forth out of His holy word. For my part, I cannot feel worse over the condition of the Reformed churches, who now will go no farther than those who brought Reformation to them. The Lutherans cannot be drawn to go beyond what Luther saw, and the Calvinists, you see, stay right where they were left by that great man of God, who did not yet see all things. Though these leaders were burning and shining lights in their time, yet they did not understand the whole counsel of God, but if they were living now, they would be as willing to embrace further light as the light they first received. Remember your promise and covenant with God and with one another to receive whatever light and truth shall come to you from His written word. But along with this, be careful, I beg you, about what you accept as truth, and compare it and weigh it with other scriptures of truth before you accept it. For it is not possible the Christian world would come so recently out of such thick anti-Christian darkness, and that full perfection of knowledge would suddenly be there. The desire for freedom of conscience inspired the Pilgrims to cross the sea, endure the hardships of the wilderness, and lay the foundation of a mighty nation. Yet the Pilgrims did not yet understand the principle of religious liberty. The freedom that they sacrificed so much to get for themselves, they were not ready to give to others. The doctrine that God has given the Church the right to control the conscience and to define and punish heresy is one of the papacy's most deeply rooted errors. The Reformers were not entirely free from Rome's spirit of intolerance. The dense darkness that had enveloped Christendom had not completely vanished yet. The colonists formed a kind of state church and authorized the government officials to suppress heresy. So, secular power was in the hands of the church. This led to the inevitable result, persecution. Roger Williams. Like the early Pilgrims, Roger Williams came to the New World for its religious freedom, but unlike them, he saw what so few had yet seen, that this freedom was the absolute right of everyone. He was a devoted seeker for truth. Williams was the first person in modern Christendom to establish civil government based on the doctrine of the liberty of conscience. The public or the government officials may decide, he said, our responsibilities to each other, but when they try to decree anyone's duties to God, they are out of place, and no one is safe, for it is clear that if the official had the power, he could decree one set of opinions or beliefs today and another tomorrow. This has been done in England by different kings and queens, and by different popes and councils in the Roman Church. People were required to attend the established church under penalty of fine or imprisonment. Roger Williams believed that to compel anyone to unite with those who believed differently was an open violation of that person's natural rights. to drag the irreligious and the unwilling to public worship seemed like simply requiring them to be hypocrites. No one should be forced to worship, or, he added, to support any kind of worship against his own will. People respected Roger Williams, yet they could not tolerate his demand for religious liberty. To avoid arrest, he was forced to escape into the uninhabited forest during the cold and storms of winter. For 14 weeks, he says, I was in serious trouble in the bitter weather, without food or a bed, but the ravens fed me in the wilderness, and a hollow tree often provided a shelter. He continued his painful escape through snow and trackless forest until he found safety with an Indian tribe whose confidence and affection he had won. Roger Williams laid the foundation of the first modern state to recognize the right that all people should have liberty to worship God according to the light of their own consciences. His little state, Rhode Island, increased and prospered until its foundation principles, civil and religious liberty, became the cornerstones of the American Republic.